Welcome to ThinkTech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidell.
And I'm Duke Oishi.
In our show tonight, we'll watch the original play, Where Do Things Go?, at the Honolulu Theatre for Youth at St. Andrew's Tenney Theatre, downtown next to Washington Place. It teaches kids about green and sustainability. It's playing there now through May 7th.
We'll meet the actors and director and find out how the play came about.
First, we joined the kids and saw the play itself. As you'll see, it raises a variety of environmental issues and is very entertaining, especially for the kids.
When things go, when we don't see them anymore, can you explain what it is to be?
Do they hide? Like the sun does when it's dark?
Open my rainbows, open our sky is clean. But I wanna know is where do things go?
By local writers, curious about the simple question, where do things go? Oh! But before we get to questioning, here are a few things we do know.
When cell phones go,
Turn them off till after the show.
and when cameras go,
Put them away till after the show.
and you gotta use the restroom, where should you go?
Out those yellow doors in the back of the theater, kind of around the corner, but make sure that you're accompanied by an adult.
Oh!
Unless you are an adult, and then you can accompany yourself.
Oh! In keeping with the theme of our show, our sets and costumes are all made from recycled stuff. Even these t-shirts were made from these t-shirts. That crazy shirt's made from material, and that material was dyed green with the ink from all the money, which at one time might have been used to buy a t-shirt.
Where do things go? When we can't smell them anymore. There are landfills with our stuff in high piles.
Arr, and even way out in our Pacific Ocean blue, Barbie plastic that goes on for miles.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, one last time. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Then we spoke with the actors who played in the play, Nina Buck, Junior Tesoro, Moses Goods, Maile Holke, and playwright Hope Villanueva, and the artistic director Eric Johnson, who directed the play, to understand what the play was about and what it intended to convey. As you'll see, they're very talented and relatable.
So here I am with the company of Where Do Things Go? These are all professional actors and musicians and stage managers and playwrights that you see in front of you. that work day in and out at Honolulu Theatre for Youth. Tell us about a couple of the characters you play in this show.
Okay, one of the characters is named Bug, and she's the older sister to Pokey, who is her little brother, who loves to sing in the shower. And he sings the same song over and over again and wastes a lot of water, which Pokey has just learned about in school. So she tells him, Pokey, you know, you've sung that song 3 times already. It's time to stop. And he doesn't listen to her, so she shuts the water off. And then they have an adventure trying to find out where the water went.
And I think that's interesting because it kind of gets to the core of what I think the show is about, which is curiosity, which happens for scientists and tech people and also for actors.
It all sort of becomes like an investigation in and of itself. You know, you sort of investigate who the characters that you're playing, what it is that they want in the play. That play, for example, is called The Water Detectives, and so Pokey and Bug sort of take on the roles of detectives, very much like I think we all do to a certain extent as actors.
We're sitting in front of your boat that you use when you're playing Captain Keen-Eye Kavika, and who's a pirate. And tell us a little bit about this boat.
This boat is it's a bin made up of different pieces of plastic. They're supposed to symbolize all the trash that that he found in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
What do you think we can do as theater artists to help out?
Well, just doing this project alone, this play, Where Do Things Go, and hearing kids voice out when they see the show, after the show or during the show, especially after the crab piece, having a kid say, "Oh, did she die?" Talking about Clype, the crab. So it makes them think. One kid said, "He's right. She doesn't need that. She doesn't need all that paraphernalia on her shell." So the kids are getting it.
I remember you came to me, I guess, a couple of years ago when we were doing some shows, and you were saying, "Oh, I'm really interested in how theaters can be more green and how they use stuff." So tell us a little bit about how we used stuff, this set that we're standing on.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting that so many of these pieces come from other shows throughout this season. So we've reused and recycled a lot of pieces. All of our costumes are reused or recycled. And I think for our audiences to see that is just another small reminder.
Yeah, we used almost 100% recycled stuff. So these are our season T-shirts that have become a dress for you. Beside us is, this is from Apollo to the Moon, I think our production of Apollo to the Moon.
These shoes were from the dinosaur play.
But they had dinosaur hooves on them.
That's true.
Where do you think this goes? I mean, do you think that any industry, the theater industry, could become more sustainable?
I do, and I think that the movement is growing all the time in the theater, as well as in other businesses and other pursuits.
Hello. You perform for 600 kids a day.
Yes.
So tell me about some of the different reactions you get from these audiences.
Oh, well, it can range from anything. I mean, sometimes you think you know how the show is going to go, but they end up laughing at every single thing, and you have to wait, pause for them to laugh at the water turning off or whatever it is. And then there are days when you're just sure that they're going to laugh at something, and it's designed to make them laugh, and there's crickets. And it's like that for the whole show, and they don't clap at the end. It's not that they're not enjoying it, but they just, they don't find that particular part funny, and they don't clap. And so you just have to be ready for that to just keep going on.
So what's that like to perform for 300, screaming house of 300 singing along with your songs?
It's great if you can get them to clap along with you. If not, they'll just clap on their own beat and just do their own thing. And we hope you can hear the music and keep time.
All we were given initially as writers were the theme of the play, really literally the title. We got the title because the title is the theme, Where Do Things Go? And we were given carte blanche to do whatever came to us about that.
And tell us basically the story, just in a nutshell. What is this story?
Well, basically there are two hermit crabs and a sea anemone, and as crabs do, they collect things on their shells to actually camouflage in the wild is why they do it. But in this story we have one crab who has gathered things from the beach that once belonged to humans. She has all sorts of various garbage and bits of plastic, that those are her treasures that she has taken up. And they're by the shore, so there's a wave coming in, the waves are getting closer and closer, and they have to decide whether she can part with her things in order to get to safety or whether it's too important to her to hold on to those objects.
What you think that decision means to a second or third grader?
I think on one level it's a question of priority in a literal sense. In this story, we're literally talking about that creature's safety, whether she's going to save herself or hold on to these objects. But for a child to look at that story, I hope that they're getting out of it, what do I really need? It's nice to have a great big house and 4 cars in the driveway and a room full of toys. But ultimately, what do you really need and how much of it do you need to be happy?
And why don't you talk just a little bit about your process of using technology to create the music and that we saw here today?
So the songs that are in this show are very kind of interactive with the actors and the audience as well. So I kind of had to create something that was already built, but was still, able to be cohesive with live performing as well.
Talk to me a little bit about the themes for this show. What attracted you to this project?
Well, I'm personally very conscious about our environment and where our things do go. So I was very intrigued when I first learned about what this play was going to be about. And it's interesting, like the crab piece inspired me to get rid of a lot of the stuff that I was holding on to that I didn't need.
What's new that you bring to the table and maybe some of these young second graders are going to bring to the table?
Well, I feel like we all have our different things that we contribute to life, or our different professions or paths that we're going to take. And mine is music. And so maybe I aren't necessarily the scientist that's going to come up with the new way to create energy, but I can use my art to inspire people to think about how we can do that.
We're very lucky. We've been around, HTY's been around for 57 years, and we're one of the only places that hires professional actors. So these actors are with us all season long. They've done 4 shows over the course of the year. They've traveled to all of the neighbor islands performing this year. And all of those actors you saw on stage today are going to be back next season to do it all again. We've done a whole season of science-based work this year. Every play in our season, we did a show about the Apollo moon missions. We did a show about Asperger's syndrome. We started the season with dinosaurs. We wanted to really leave the audiences with a strong question. Not an answer, but a strong question that they're going to carry out into their lives. I think this project is a perfect idea of partnerships because we have all those partners that you're going to talk with today, but also St. Andrew's Cathedral gives us this space for free.
Oh, that's very nice.
They are beautiful partners.
Good for them.
It's a 300-seat theater, and we run thousands and thousands, 75,000 kids a year through our programming.
Finally, we spoke with some of the supporting cast, as they say. Time Steinberger of the City and County Department of Environmental Services, Dan Kelin, Drama Education Director of the Honolulu Theatre for Youth, and Jeff Mikulina, Executive Director of Blue Planet Foundation, which sponsored the play.
I'll take you on a little tour of the space that you see here. Again, everything is from recycled other shows. If you look in here, you'll see one of our bins, our gray bin, which burns up trash and makes energy. And you will come on up the set here. And this is the fossil fuel power plant that HTY used to use at the beginning of the show and no longer has need for by the end of the show. Then up here on this level, you'll see that's where the pirate pops out and some great activity happens over there. And then if you come with me across here, this is where the water detectives do their detective work, and also where people come and go. At one point becomes the stomach for the medicines floating around. And then you move on across the stage and get into Max's musical area over there. And then down below, I'll nip down, little ship's ladder. And we've got spinny doors, which not complete without spinny doors.
If you want to institute a long-term change, you start with the younger generation. You start, getting it into the culture now.
Right.
And as they grow up, it just becomes something that's automatic.
As many of us know, they're often the loudest voices.
They're
if
the
they
loudest.
come home, on fire about something.
Kids are pretty smart these days. They realize that the future is theirs and that they can develop their future.
You guys have not only helped us sponsor the show, but you created this coloring book, something that lives on in the household afterwards. What messages are they picking up from this part of the show?
That waste is a resource. And I think the show is very good in demonstrating that. In these green cards, and the blue card, and the gray card, we normally say blue is new, gray is power, and green is exactly that, green. It makes things green. So everything goes in these cards is reused, and it is a resource, and it's a valuable resource. And interesting enough, we have 3 carts, and I can always call the 3 carts reduce, recycle, reuse.
Yeah.
So it works in well.
Yeah, and I love in the piece how you guys brought to that not only are the characters sorting it out, Kevin is having to do all that, but then he gets something from each of the carts. Each of the carts give him something back. He gets a recycled dirt bike, and then Gray powers it
up, and Green gives him the turf to go drive around and motocross on it. Terrific.
We're already seeing kids zooming out of here. How would an HTY educator take this kind of theme or topic and engage with students directly in our education work? What would that look like?
If you want to take a theme that's connected to where do things go, then that question is going to prevail throughout the work that we do children. We want to get to the point where we can ask that question and they have a way to answer it. And that involves 2 things. Number one is the how of answering it, the creative, artistic, theatrical methodology in which they can answer it. So how they can get up and speak it through narrative, through dialogue, how they can act it out physically through movement or frozen images even. The other is the content, being able to have explored the ideas that are related to the question of where do things go. So we might be looking at something like a piece of trash and just wondering, how does the trash even end up on the ground? Right. And if it ends up on the ground, how does it move? Where does it go to if it starts moving? What's going to make it move? And then once it moves, where is it generally going to be headed toward? And just asking a variety of questions so they start filling in the answers internally. All of HTY's work from the simplest education program we do to the complexity of putting on a production is about engaging the imagination of the participant. We know that the best quality artistic work is asking the question, not providing the answer.
We are sitting in the HTY power plant, which at the beginning of the show is powered by fossil fuels, and then by the end of the show they have a much more environmentally friendly energy source.
What the show does is it doesn't necessarily do it to clean energy sources, but to young energy sources.
Right.
And the audience has the energy that provides the power for the rest of the show. Well, Blue Planet Foundation is a local nonprofit focused on ending the use of fossil fuels on Earth, starting in Hawaii.
Great. And we sat down, the way this worked is we sat down in a room with a bunch of your guys and some playwrights, and we started battering around ideas. And I think you came up with the idea of this young energy, or through that conversation. In some ways, not only is solar energy young energy, but they are the young energy that is going to transform this conversation into the future.
Exactly. I mean, they're going to be living with our decisions, and then also shaping their own, future. But it's a nice analogy with the young energy, and they have that. I think they understand the issues, and the play helps them understand the issues, but they have that desire to create a better world.
Physically, they put this in their body with shining and wind, and which I think was fun to work with the choreographer on how, developmentally, often ideas for that age group are physical.
Yeah.
Which I think is really fun.
Yeah, and it becomes more sticky that way too then.
Yeah, we had that early meeting, bunch of collaborators in the room, and we sort of went away. And then you came the other night and saw the show. Was it what you expected?
You definitely went through an evolution, but it was exactly what we expected, or exactly what we wanted to see come out of it and more.
Okay.
And it's tough to translate some of these ideas into that kid-friendly and engaging, and you guys did an amazing job of that.
What we wanna know is where do things go as we change and grow? Then where do things go?
Flash news. Becky Dunning, formerly of Blue Planet Foundation, has now joined Honolulu Theatre for Youth as its managing director. Congratulations, welcome aboard, and good luck to Becky Dunning.
This all proves there's great vitality and talent at Honolulu Theatre for Youth. It's going strong and its work is excellent, relevant, and valuable to the kids and the community. Check it out at htyweb.org.
And try to see the play, Where Do Things Go? It's really fun for kids of all ages, and it's playing now through May 7th. The remarkable phenomenon is to watch the kids soak in this stuff, because they do buy it, they do understand, they do relate to it. One of the most interesting aspects is that the kids react in ways you can't predict. And so Eric Johnson and the others, they have to watch the kids at every performance to see where they're reacting, where the players are connecting with the kids. Because kids aren't like regular people, they're carte blanche, and they react in different ways. So it's a fantastic experience to watch the kids watching the play. And now, here's our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
On Thursday, May 26th, ThinkTech, the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, and Pacific New Media will present our 2011 legislative update, taking stock on the events and results of the 2011 legislative session. Was a budget balanced or not?
Aha. On Wednesday, June 22nd, ThinkTech, HVCA, and Pacific New Media will present a half-day program called Stuck in the Pipeline, What's Holding Up Our Big Projects. Check out hvca.org or thinktechhawaii.com.
And now, here's Bill Spencer, president of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, with this week's Spensation.
As you know, we were judges at the high school business plan competition, which is one of several competitions put on by the Career Technical Education Group, which is just doing a fantastic job of introducing high school students to reality. There are tracks in healthcare, marketing, engineering, computer animation, natural resources, and business planning, which expose these high schoolers to real-world careers and real-world career opportunities. And I think, You know, I've been participating in this now for 8 years as a judge of the business plan competition, and Hawaii Venture Capital Association, along with our Deal of the Year winners, give prize money. And so you saw firsthand how this goes. What did you think?
Oh, I was delighted with the way they performed. You know, they tried so hard. It's the same kind of vitality that you see in the science fair. And my reaction, I'm sure you had the same, is the same reaction I had in the science fair. These are kids, but they're so passionate about it, and they work so hard, and they cross a line, you know, they're crossing the Rubicon. They're becoming adults, and they're becoming sentient about business and the world out there. It's a reality test, and it's great to see it. It's great to be at that intersection.
That's right. It's relevancy, which I think is so important in high school, because, you know, from the time you get your first allowance, we're training kids to essentially get a job. And that may not be the best track for some kids. Some kids might be better off as an entrepreneur. They might be better off creating their own job. And unless the education process exposes kids to that opportunity, it's lost. And we're going to lose a lot of kids along the way. Evidence the dropout rate, evidence the lack of kids going into science and technology careers. It's a big problem, and I think relevancy education, such as career technical education, is where it's all
Absolutely.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech, but first we want to thank our underwriters.
Thanks to the Scheidler Family Foundation. Jay Scheidler, through the Scheidler Family Foundation, supports a number of educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including ThinkTech.
Hawaiian Electric Company, HECO and its affiliates Miko on Maui and Helco on the Big Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Kelin Ho. Kelin Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company which has a large presence in and commitment to Hawaii.
Oceanit, a local tech company, is one of Hawaii's largest and most diversified science and engineering companies.
Okay, Duke, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech. Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 several times every week, just like Duke does. For additional times, check out oc16.tv.
And for lots more ThinkTech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on ThinkTech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a sponsor and help us reach Hawaii.
I'm Jay Fidell. Thanks for joining us on ThinkTech.
And I'm Duke Oishi. Aloha, everyone.